Hey everyone, welcome back to Sasser House. In today's video, we're going to be showing you guys how we remodeled our entire kitchen. If you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and go watch that now, but this is part 2 of our kitchen remodel. So far, we have taken out our old kitchen cabinets and our backsplash, and we have installed pretty much all of our kitchen cabinets that are new. So the next step is going to be countertops. So we've got a quartz countertop guy that is coming in and installing these countertops. We ended up going with a little bit cheaper countertop. It's an all white quartz instead of one of the ones with these beautiful gold veins. It was just much better budget for us, so we decided to save a little bit there, and we'll bring out some color in some other places. After getting the new countertops installed, the next step was to basically use some 2x4s and block off the ceilings above the upper cabinet. Basically, the reason we're doing this is to have something to attach the trim boards and the crown molding to. So this is basically going to take our regular looking cabinets and extend them up to where they're touching the ceilings, which I think is so important when you're remodeling a kitchen. Like, even if you are gonna keep older cabinets and you only have 8-foot ceilings, like, build the boxes above the cabinets or something, because this just absolutely elevates a kitchen when your cabinets go all the way to the ceiling. So we got that one trim piece on there, and then now it's time to cut the crown molding. And so my dad taught me this little jig template thing that basically holds the crown molding upright on the miter saw and helps you get a cut at the right angle. So it looks something like this. I would have never thought of that, and just holds it in the right position, so you're making those cuts nice and mitered like they're supposed to be. So I'm lucky that Dad was there to help me with this stuff, because I've never done trim work or anything like this, but it really went up quick. This was actually really satisfying to put on first that 1x4 board and then that crown molding. Then we also did the under trim. I didn't get much video of the under trim because it was quite complicated. There's just not very much space to shoot the nails into. So same process as the crown molding, except for it goes underneath the cabinets. And this trim just absolutely looks so good on the cabinets. It makes it all come together. And so I'm really glad that we went with the upper and the lower trim. Then the next step was the range hood. It took us a little while to measure and to talk about whether we wanted that little chimney box extender up there or not, but we decided to not use that. I think it's for 9-foot ceilings, and we only have 8-foot ceilings, so we decided to not use the chimney box at all. Next, it was time to remove our old dishwasher. So we undid the electrical in that and undid the plumbing, and then we had one little 1-inch filler piece that we had to add onto this little cabinet here on the very end. And so basically, we just took one of our scraps and cut down a 1-inch filler piece, and we got that installed. So to install this little filler piece, we basically just clamped it together and then pre-drilled holes and screwed it together. We put those drawers back in, and then we also went ahead and touched up that raw edge of the wood, just so in case you saw it, everything would be that matching green color. The next step was to install our new kitchen faucet and drain and soap dispenser and get all of the plumbing done underneath the sink. And I'm so thankful that my dad was able to come in. He came in several weekends during this kitchen remodel and helped me with the things that I was not very sure of or that I've never done before. And plumbing is one of those things. So I knew that before he left and went back home to Knoxville, I wanted to get his help on the plumbing so I didn't make any mistakes and ruin these new kitchen cabinets that we're installing. So got the plumbing taken care of, and then next I started putting some of the stuff back into the kitchen cabinets for the first time. We got all kinds of little organizers and things like that for our kitchen, and I will link all of those in the description of this video. And I'm sure Emily will do a video later on and she will reorganize all of this stuff. But if you guys are interested in some of those kitchen products that we're now using to help organize, I will link those all below, and as well as the faucet and plumbing stuff like that too. The next step for the kitchen remodel is installing the toe kicks and the shoe molding onto the bottom of the cabinets. And so I got all of these pre-cut to size. I tried to do as much measuring inside one time and then making all of my cuts that I possibly can. That way it saves a lot of my time and my trips way out to my miter saw and to my shed. And so I got all of those measurements and cuts made, and then I took those toe kicks inside to install into the bottom of the cabinets. And I basically just took my nail gun and shot those in. My next step was to go to all of the trim that I've done so far, the crown molding, the toe kicks, everything, and fill all of my nail holes. And so I just took this little putty tube and it is the kind that goes on pink and then it dries white whenever it's dry. And so I just took my finger and went around the entire kitchen and filled all of the cracks and the nail holes that I could find. And then after all of that had dried, the next step is to go back with just a 400 grit sandpaper or something really high and sand all of the excess off until it's nice and smooth. So I went around all of the trim and sanded that all down. And I'll go ahead and link all of this stuff below in the description as well. The sandpaper I use, the sanding block, the putty that I use, and everything like that, which this stuff is great for not only a kitchen project, but really any kind of project that you're doing trim or painting furniture or anything you may be doing that's DIY. This stuff is just great little handy tools and things to have. After all of the putty had dried and sanded down, I went back with a touch-up paint, which we got paint matched at Home Depot. And so basically we just took a piece of the excess trim to Home Depot and they can literally just scan it and get an exact match. And so we got a paint match and I touched up everything. The next step in this kitchen remodel was new appliances. And I'm so glad that we did not skimp out on our budget when it comes to new appliances, because they help the kitchen look really, really nice. And then also they're just so functional and so much better than our old appliances that we've had. We bought this house a couple years ago and it had probably the same appliances that came in the house for the most part, which was, the house was built in, I think, 2001. So these were probably a little over 20 years old, some of these appliances. So I'm so glad that we got new appliances. I went ahead and moved everything over from our old refrigerator to the new refrigerator. And then we're gonna actually keep our old refrigerator and put it out in the garage. So I'm excited about that too, just to have the extra freezer space and maybe a fridge out in the garage for things like sodas and stuff. Next up was installing the dishwasher, and this is one way that we decided to save money. I've never installed a dishwasher before or a microwave or any of those types of things, but I think the dishwasher was going to cost like $180 to have Home Depot install it. And I was like, it can't be that hard. So I made sure that I had all of the parts ordered that go with it. And I was like, I'm just going to go for it. And it really was not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I just read the instructions and basically you're just wiring it up and hooking up the plumbing. And it really was not bad at all. Honestly, the hardest part of all of these appliances was removing that sticky saran wrap stuff all over it. So I would recommend, if you can, if you're kind of handy, go ahead and give it a try and don't spend hundreds of dollars. Like I think it would have been like $350 to pay someone else to install our appliances. And this probably took me 2 hours to do. So definitely, if you're on a budget, go ahead and try to install this stuff by yourself. So the microwave was going to go under this cabinet over here, and it basically just had a bracket that it just snapped into, and then the wire went up into the cabinet above, and I had already run an outlet in the previous video up there, so it just plugged in once it was hung on that bracket and screwed in. So super easy, and I'm really glad that we saved money on that. Next up, I went ahead and got some shoe molding for the bottom of the cabinets to go on those toe kicks. And I don't think that you always do this, like these didn't come with our kitchen cabinets, but there were some pretty big gaps showing from where underneath our old cabinets there was no tile, and so we didn't want to see those gaps. Eventually we're going to redo our tile floors. We're going to do the floors through our entire house, but for now I decided just to cover up those gaps with some shoe mold. So, you ready? Yeah. Okay, let's get right here.
Right here?
Okay, I'm gonna go right there. Okay, it's gonna be loud. I'm gonna do the first one, so cover your ears. It's gonna be loud. 1, 2, 3. Okay. You wanna help do this one?
Yeah.
Here, come here and push the button. Wait. Right here, push this button. 1, 2, 3. My little nephew Odie came to help with the kitchen remodel, and he didn't like the loud noises, but he did get to play with some of his little toys, and so it was so much fun being able to just do this project and have a little bit of company while I was working. So we finished up getting the shoe mold all shot on with my nail gun. And then we also went ahead and we wanted to replace these vent covers. They were just really gross and old, and we almost had stepped and smushed that. I don't know why they would have put a vent right below where the sink is at, but we're not redoing the floors yet. And so we went ahead and just replaced all of these in the kitchen with pretty much the same color because it kind of matched that tile floor, but these will get replaced again at some point when we get to the floors. Next step in the kitchen remodel is to install our cabinet knobs and pulls. And this part is so much fun. It was a little bit nerve-wracking to drill holes into the face of our brand new cabinets, but I had this little template tool that really helped out. You basically just sat it onto the face of the cabinet and you used the same holes every time. So it made sure that you had the right distance between your holes and then the right distance up and down. And so I ended up measuring some just to double check, but that little tool works so well for installing hardware on cabinets or furniture. So I'll link that down in the description below as well. But this part was so fun and it really brought the cabinets to life. I love the gold hardware and how it brings out even more of a pretty green color on the kitchen cabinets. Next up is building a custom built-in shelf that will go above where the dishwasher and stuff is on the left side of the kitchen. So I got this really cool old barnwood from Emily's producer Trent, and I was so excited. I got it home and I started to look through the pieces, find which pieces were the straightest, and I ripped down each side of them to try to get some long and straight boards that would work for me. And I don't have a planer or joiner or anything like that, so I just really had to do the best that I could with barnwood. So I got it all cut down, and then I had this picture envisioned in my mind from what Emily had shown me on Pinterest. And so this was not going to be exactly like what she had shown me, but I basically just built a frame kind of like this with a couple shelves, and I ended up only doing 2 shelves to start. But later on in the video, I would change my mind and I'm going to add a 3rd shelf, and it looks so much better once I added that shelf. But I built that basic little frame with the 2 shelves, and then I cut down or ripped down some pieces of trim and shot some trim on the outer edge of the face of this built-in shelf. And so I was really excited about it. I thought that it looked really, really good, and I wanted to leave some shelves high because I knew Emily would want to put some like flowers and, you know, all kinds of decor on it, but it did need one more shelf. Now we are to the final weekend of this kitchen remodel, and I had my brother-in-law coming into town to help me do the tile backsplash. And so before he got there, I went ahead and did all of my prep work. I didn't want to get anything on these brand new white countertops. And so I got some cardboard from Home Depot and some blue tape, and I taped it all off as good as I can. Then I also went ahead and removed that light fixture above the kitchen sink. And when he first got there, we just had to do a little bit of drywall work and sanding and making sure that our surface was nice and level and prepped. Then we got to go in on installing the new tile, and it really helped out that my brother-in-law was there. He is super, super fast and very, very good at tile work. And then my sister's been helping him a lot too. So we had 3 people that were going to town working on this tile backsplash, and it really, really did go fast. I picked out this pink tile backsplash that Emily saw in the store and loved, and we went with a pattern that like one tile was patterned and then the next one was not, and so we'll show that whenever the product is finished, and it looked so good. But I would go outside and cut a bunch of these pieces and bring them back in, and Landon would start putting them up on the wall. And so we did all of this tile backsplash in about one day. They drove in from Knoxville, we did the tile backsplash, and they left the same day. So it was a lot of work, but we were moving really, really fast. And so after we got all of the tile installed, he went ahead and caulked all of the edges for me. That's something that I haven't done. I did help Landon do tile for a few years, so I'm pretty good at tile, but I'm glad that he was there to help just to make it all look nice and pro. Then the next day, after the tile had all set and dried for a night, I went ahead and started putting in the grout. And so I have done this a few times before, but I used some pre-mixed grout just to save some time and the mess. And it's a little more expensive to do it that way, but it was definitely worth it. And so I just basically took a grout float and rubbed as much of the grout into the cracks as I could. And I was working in small sections. And then I would go and follow it with just a wet sponge and towel to wipe off all of the excess. And you want to work in small sections because it dries really, really fast. And if you do a large portion, it will all dry on the face of the tile and you'll never get it off. And it will take forever and be such a headache. So just work in small sections, rub it into the grout lines, and then wipe it off. And so I got all of the tile backsplash grouted, and then I installed the range hood back up, and put our oven back in. That night, I actually had a last minute thought, like, what if we paint our trim for our window and our door in the same green color that was paint matched to our kitchen cabinets? And I think that I really liked it. It kind of fell off because our trim is kind of this creamy color and our countertops were pure white, and then we had that pink going on. So I thought maybe it would look okay with green, and I think that it was the right call. So I got all of that trim painted, and then I reinstalled our new over the sink light, which is such a cute little vintagey looking light that Emily picked out from Amazon. And so I'll link that down below, and our kitchen lights that are in the middle of the room. But I got that reinstalled and it worked fine, which is impressive for my electrical work. Now back to the barnwood built-in shelf. So as you see, I put it in and it only had those 2 shelves and it just didn't look right. So I built one more shelf and got that installed. And I think that it looks so much better. The spacing is much better and it's going to look a lot better now that it has the 3rd shelf. So I finished up getting that screwed in and making sure that it was nice and level, because we were planning to put some of our dishes and stuff on here. And then I had to go up on the countertops and use a little drill bit that's made for tile, because I wanted to make sure that this went into the studs and that if we loaded it down with dishes and decor and all kinds of stuff, that it would be nice and sturdy and that we wouldn't have to worry about it actually toppling over into the kitchen. And so I got that installed, and then I started to decorate that shelf. And this was kind of a back and forth thing, and I'm sure that Emily is going to continue to work on decorating this shelf and the entire kitchen, and she'll rearrange everything, I'm sure. But she was out of town during almost all of this kitchen remodel. If you guys didn't watch on our socials, I actually did the entire kitchen remodel in only 24 days. And a large portion of it was a surprise, like this KitchenAid mixer right here. Some of our family, my mom, her mom, and dad went in together and got her a new KitchenAid mixer, but she was absolutely surprised. She helped pick out a lot of this stuff, but she did not know that I was getting it done in 24 days or while she was gone. So it was a complete surprise that it had been finished while she was gone in that short amount of time. So that made this project even more special. So here is the before and here is the after. This was such a transformation, and we are in love with our new kitchen. Everything about it, it was just so dull and gray, and Emily's least favorite color in the world is gray. And then now it is so much brighter. It's got color, it's got the green, it's got the pink. I love the gold accents in the lights and the faucets and the handles, and that built-in shelf is so much fun. I love rustic and really cool stuff like barnwood and things like that, so that kind of was my piece to it. And then the sink, of course, everyone loves the sink on socials. I'll link all of the stuff down below. This project was so much fun because I've never done a big house project like this before. I've just built furniture, I have refinished furniture, done little DIY projects here or there, or helped my dad do construction work, but I've never actually taken on a project nearly this big. But I hope you guys have enjoyed watching the transformation of our horrible kitchen into something very beautiful. If you guys like these types of renovations and house projects, we have so much more coming soon here on the Sasser House. So make sure to like and comment down below what you guys want to see next, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video, because we have a lot of projects coming soon. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one.